Hello, oracles. Oh my goodness, yet another day of Tesla surging ahead. We have been pushing up to that $214 resistance level, looking to try and break past that. We also have President Biden coming out and acknowledging and, gosh, almost thanking Tesla and Elon Musk. We will get into that along with some other news in just a minute. All right, so jumping right into the charts here, we can see that Tesla is up almost 2.5%. And volume coming in today was a little bit lower than we have been seeing recently, around 181 million shares trading hands. But we still saw this nice little jump. And again, we continue to push up into this overbought range. The RSI is at 73. And again, this level right here is what we've been bouncing off of. So we bounced off of it once already. And today is now that second day that we're bouncing right at that 214 level. Now, after hours, we are up to near 216. So the question here is going to be for me, are we going to break this level or are we going to bounce off and come back down again? We saw something very similar when we were at that $313 level where Tesla continued to run but could not get past that $313 level. Then what ended up happening was as the market continued to surge, but then Tesla ended up selling off. It just could not break that level for whatever reason. So we are seeing that right now. Now, again, we just have to wait and see if Tesla can break this. If it can, I think we are going to be running to this either 221 level or that 232 level. And that could be a surge that we see going into Investor Day. And now, my thoughts about this are if we do end up surging and continue to push upwards into Investor Day, that to me is really going to almost guarantee, and I don't want to say guarantee because nobody knows what's going to happen, but if we continue to push up that high and going into even higher overbought range, we are most likely going to be getting a sell the news situation with Investor Day. Even if we get some awesome news that really tells us, hey, Tesla's a winner long term, even more so than we even thought before, we might still end up getting that sell off. Then again, we have in the middle of March CPI, PPI, and we're going to be getting the FOMC meeting. At that meeting, we could be getting that hawkish Fed coming out telling us that, hey, we are going to keep interest rates high for a long extended period of time because inflation is still persistent. That could end up causing that sell off to happen. Again, we've seen some of the craziest things happen before. We never thought the stock was going to pull back. And then after the Hertz news, we were overbought for 3 weeks. And then Elon decided he wanted to sell shares. This time around, that is not going to happen. Elon told us already he is not going to be selling this year. But who knows what else is going to happen? We've got aliens invading. We've got balloons getting shot down over the US. We have crazy things that are going on right now. We've got big trains exploding in the middle of Ohio, causing issues. We've got all sorts of madness going on in the world right now. So, who knows what it is that's going to trigger a massive market sell off? But there is something that could potentially happen. And my guess is between March and May, we are going to be seeing this cycling down. We've been cycling up right now. I think we end up getting that cycle down come March to May. That could lead us to some very good buying opportunities. I am personally planning for something like that. Again, I don't know. So I'm just building up a lot of cash to be ready for in case something like that happens. But because of the fact that I don't know, I am still adding to Tesla every single day. I still put my $20 in every day and I keep on adding there. That's the two ways I'm playing this right now. But seeing as how we're moving right now, if we continue to surge into Investor Day, I think we do end up selling off afterwards. If for some reason we sell off before Investor Day, maybe we do get a little surge afterwards, but either way, I do think between March and May we get that sell off. And now, even if we do get that sell off, I am still going to be extremely excited because talk about fundamental good stuff going on here. We've got President Biden finally coming out in building our EV charging network. We have to ensure that as many chargers work for as many drivers as possible. To that end, Elon Musk will open a big part of Tesla's network up to all drivers. That's a big deal and it'll make a big difference. And Elon responding to this, thank you, Tesla is happy to support other EVs via our supercharger network. And now my thoughts on this are something that I saw all over Twitter today, something we've talked about before when Tesla first discussed opening up their charging network. which is this is massive free advertising for Tesla. This is a huge win win situation. This is going to be more revenue coming in for Tesla from that charging network. They're going to be now having consumers of other EVs that are going to be using their charging network seeing how good they are. And of course, you're going to see a lot of Teslas at these charging stations as well. Now, somebody who's driving maybe a Bolt or a Rivian or a Ford Mach E or something is going to be now seeing a Tesla there. They're going to have conversations with Tesla owners and say, hey, well, what can your car do? Why is a Tesla better? Those conversations will start. And they're like, you know what? Maybe I do want to get a Tesla. That could end up happening. So this is awesome to see on this end. And if you start looking at the competition that's out there, you can then say that when it comes to competition, stuff like the charging network is an expense to them. For Tesla, it's going to be a revenue source. That is a massive difference. Tesla is going to be making money on these things where everybody else is going to cost them money. And now, speaking of legacy auto, the other day we heard that Ford had to halt their production and shipments of its electric F-150 Lightning due to potential battery issue. And there are many discussions going around wondering if Ford is going to end up having to do a recall on these. Now, there's not a lot of them on the road yet. They just started to ramp those up. So if they do end up doing a recall, not a huge deal. But thinking about the fact that Rivian is out there sort of struggling to get by, Ford is now coming out having battery issues. We've got the Cybertruck coming at the end of this year. So many people had been barking all along that Tesla is going to be late to the game when it comes to the electric trucks. Well, guess what? The other two people out there who have electric trucks on the road right now aren't really doing much on the road right now as it is. So if that's the case, when the Cybertruck comes along, it's going to be a big splash in the water because guess what? The other two that are out there didn't really have much of a showing at all. So it kind of primed the way for the Cybertruck to come out and be like, wow, this really is so much better than the other two that are out there. And now to piggyback on that F-150 Lightning news, we've got Squawk Square coming out. Tesla halts some production of Shanghai plant and CNBC is blasting the news every 15 minutes. Ford halted production on all F-150 production and not a peep. Just shows how biased CNBS is with Tesla. And of course, this is so true. We see it all the time. But when we are looking at the Shanghai plant being closed down for 2 weeks for upgrades, we've seen this happen before in the past. This happened last August and September. Both times they came back online stronger than they were before, came back up to ramp even faster. So now there's some rumors going around as to what they are actually doing with the Shanghai plant right now. So we don't know the exact timing of it going down. We did see sort of weaker numbers coming out for insured vehicles last week. So is it shut down now? Has it been shut down? Is it going to be shut down? We haven't gotten any confirmation from Tesla on this, but we've got Zhongwen coming out saying there are rumors that Tesla China will introduce upgraded Model 3 manufacturing process, integrated die casting, yoke steering wheel, remove gear lever, space increase, etc. He does go on to say manufacturing costs continue to decrease, and this is just a rumor. I can't confirm how credible it is. And of course, Chris Zhang does come out and say, this is fake news. So now always take this kind of stuff with a grain of salt, but having it go down for an upgrade for an undisclosed amount of time could be 2 weeks. That's typically how long they sometimes do this. But we also saw it go down at the beginning of the year. Now, this could just be for the Model 3 line, but is this perhaps the Project Highland upgrade that we are looking at? Are they perhaps going to get this up and running ahead of Investor Day? Will this be the Gen 3 platform that they are going to be upgrading to? And then they can say, hey, we are already up and running on that platform over in Shanghai. Now, the Gen 3 platform may be a completely different platform entirely and be separate from Project Highland. We truly don't know. When we look at connecting the dots, putting things together, it seems like that the whole Project Highland maybe is connected to Gen 3, and that altogether is going to be that manufacturing process that cuts costs significantly. We just need to wait a couple of weeks and we're going to find out at Investor Day most likely. And then when we start looking at, a potential plant coming up in Mexico, my guess would be that if connecting the dots is right, we will end up seeing Project Highland go into effect for the Model 3 first. We will see that coming out. They'll kind of do a test run on it. And then when we go over to Mexico, they're going to be running the new vehicles that have not been announced yet coming out of Mexico on that Gen 3 platform with that whole entire Project Highland manufacturing process. That's my guess, but just kind of putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together leads me to believe that that is what is going to play out. And now, the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is there was an interview on CNBC with Charlie Munger, and they asked him why he prefers an investment in BYD over Tesla. He says, "That's easy. Tesla last year reduced its prices in China twice, while BYD increased its prices. BYD is so ahead of Tesla in China, it's almost ridiculous." And as Sawyer Merritt breaks down here, China's BYD sells more cars, but Tesla makes 8 times more profit per vehicle. On a per vehicle basis, Tesla made $9,761 in profit, over 8 times more than BYD, which notched $1,190 in profit per car sold. And so at the end of the day, we've said it many times on here before, it's not about how many vehicles you sell, it's about how much profit you're making on those vehicles. Now, granted, this year, we have discussed how Tesla wants to get as many vehicles on the road as possible because that window of opportunity for EVs is here right now. And Tesla is able to fill that void better than anyone else. So they have a prime opportunity to get as many vehicles out on the road as they can. So for them, cutting prices down is actually beneficial to get more of their vehicles on the road. But even with the price cutting, they are still making significantly more money than BYD and all of Legacy Auto when it comes to not only their EVs, but all of their vehicles. That's the big difference right there. When the world starts transitioning over even faster to just EVs, where are these players going to be? Where is BYD going to be on that chart? The majority of their vehicles that they're selling are not just battery only vehicles, they're hybrids. They sell a lot of those over there. So as we move through time, Tesla's going to show how strong they are. So as Tesla's sales go up, they're going to be able to produce more profits than BYD in a significant manner, and that's really what's going to make the difference. So going back to the question we had yesterday, did Berkshire Hathaway maybe buy at $101? Seems like that's a big no. Seems like they did not purchase Tesla at all anytime over the last month or so. So it seems like right now they are a BYD company and they are not going to be purchasing Tesla. So overall, some very exciting stuff that we had going on. Again, great movements in the stock. Don't know where the future is going to go, but my feeling is that we are going to be getting that pullback between March and May. Again, I love that opportunity to buy more because looking at all of these fundamentals, looking at everything that is going on with the company, with the president even coming out and acknowledging what's going to happen, the supercharger network, that 7,500 chargers that Tesla is going to be opening up. And Tesla did say that by the end of 2024, they're going to be doubling the size of their charging network. So that is massive profits that are going to be coming in from the charging network from competition's vehicles. That is going to be huge. When you've got your competitors' consumers coming in and paying you to use your charging network, that is a huge win. So overall, very excited to see this going on. You guys can let me know in the comments below how you feel about all of this, how you feel about the charging network. What do you think is going to happen with the stock price? Do you think we're going to push up to that 230 level before we pull back? You know, anything can happen here. I'm just excited to see what's going on and I'm ready for anything. So you guys can let me know how you feel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. We will see you in the next one.